of our house. God, be Lord, be king of our country, be king of our kingdom, be king of our children, be king of our conscience.
Okay.
I didn't mean to get so carried away there.
Well,
I'll stand by
all I
now.
can tell you, Tony, is that how do you translate the passion that a Dave Reaver has inside of him, and he can impart that passion to us? How do we make that car hit the ground and go down the road? Because it takes people that are passionate, Dave, like yourself, and it takes people that can actually get that passion transferred into legislation. What do we do now?
Well, I think it's just what Dave was saying. I think it's talking to every man out there, every mother, every father, every family, that it's time, as he said, to rise up. I mean, we are literally at the 11th hour as a nation, and if we don't speak up and stand up, we won't be able to speak up and stand up much longer. And I think the way we get this message into Washington, D.C. is that it becomes the message in every one of our homes, it becomes the message in our churches and our communities, because I will tell you there is resistance in Washington, D.C. to this message.
Wow.
They don't want to hear it.
What message are we talking about?
The message that there is traditional morality, there is right and wrong. I mean, we live in the age where, I can't define right for you, you've got to define it. There's moral relativism.
Yeah.
And we've seen the consequences of that. We've seen over the last 40 years when we changed the policy on marriage. Again, California, 1969, no-fault divorce. We have now seen a generation that has grown up with a public policy scheme that devalues marriage. As a result, in some parts of our country, 70% of our kids are growing up without dads, because they're being born out of wedlock, because marriage is almost dying out in this country.
Wow.
Cohabitation skyrocketing. Why? Many moral factors. But the government has said we don't value marriage that much when they adopted a no-fault divorce. This is really the body slam of marriage when you look at same-sex marriage. We look at other parts of the world that has adopted this idea that, whether 2 men and 2 women marry is the same as a man and a woman. In fact, the judge says that in his opinion. He said, there is no evidence to suggest that there is any difference between a heterosexual couple and a same-sex couple.
Except the same-sex couple can't procreate.
Well, I mean, he obviously fell asleep in biology class in high school.
I got you. There's a little difference there.
There is a big difference. But to your question, Matthew, it's an issue of America rising up.
Yeah.
Enough is enough. Pray and act.
Yeah.
Pray and act.
Okay. The idea that we have to be informed so that we do something. I think that ultimately, most of the time, most of our sincerest times with God are in a crisis, not on the mountaintop experience, but really in the valley experience. And so ultimately, when you hear some of this stuff, it makes me, look, we've got to hit this hard. Tony, let me have the Family Research Council address up on the screen again, just frc.org, there it is, Tony Perkins Organization, Family Research Council. Everyone watching, go to the thing and do that,
Yeah,
right?
let me just mention something. Can I take a poll?
Please.
How many of you had heard about that provision in Judge Walker's ruling? Anybody in here? About the religion?
I had not.
Number 7.
I had not.
Number 7, I have not.
Okay,
We've got
a couple. Yeah, 1 or 2 or 3.
That's not been on the news.
Right.
You've not heard it on Fox, you've not heard it on CNN, you've not heard it on MSNBC. And
for someone just tuning in, if they missed it, what was it?
This was Judge Walker, Federal Judge Walker's ruling, district judge in California, on Prop 8, which was California's marriage amendment. He had 80 findings of fact. Fact number 77 was a statement of fact that says religious beliefs that same-sex relationships are sinful or inferior to heterosexual relationships harm gays and lesbians. Again, the emphasis being on beliefs. We've gone, as I mentioned earlier, we've gone from, in one generation, 1962, the banning of the Bible, that if this decision stands, we will be banning beliefs in America.
You're in the legislative world. In plain English, what that guy said was, if you believe that a heterosexual marriage is superior in some way to a homosexual marriage, then just the fact that I believe that harms someone else, and I can't do that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so...
And that will mean that at some point in time, if that decision stands, which a federal judge, when a judge rules like that, that becomes law. I mean, it becomes the law of the land. That's how we got Roe v. Wade. So if that stands, the government then will have to use its resources and its power to stop those beliefs that are harmful.
Okay, so going to the FRC site right now, everybody under the sound of our voice, watching or viewing or listening or watching it later on the internet or whatever you're doing, please go to FRC. And again, we're in between Labor Day and 9/11, 2010, and we are right here in Big D. Big D, right? Are we here in Big D? Yeah. Okay. They're getting with the program now. As soon as I just say Big D, you're supposed to applaud right then. Big D. Big D. And this issue wouldn't happen in Big D. Okay, enough of that. Tony Perkins' organization, Family Research Council, needs to hear from all of us, and go put your name in this petition. And what are they basically signing on to? What if they put their name in? What are they agreeing with?
They are asking. There's two cases actually. The one in California. There's another in Massachusetts, which is very similar, going through federal court. And we're asking the Justice Department to aggressively defend the definition of marriage.
Okay.
Getting our elected officials, our government officials, to take a stand and defend the institution of marriage.
Okay. I am not a legislator, but why doesn't the people that cannot procreate in a union, okay, so that's women and women and men, why don't they just get a different name and leave marriage alone?
The judge talks about that extensively. In fact, that was the first step. You had civil unions and domestic partnerships, and the judge, based upon the testimony of same-sex couples, said that that was an inferior status, made them feel as if they were secondary citizens, and also it took issue with the fact that the purpose of marriage was procreation, and basically refused to acknowledge that procreation had anything to do with marriage.
Really?
Yeah.
So it just, somebody spits and there's the kids, I guess. That's how it works. It don't work that way in Big D, does it?